National Transportation Safety Board has released its report on this helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant and his daughter and 7 other people on their way to a basketball event. So let's bring in our aviation attorney, John Gagliano. John, good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
Okay. I hate to talk about this kind of stuff, but let's set it up again. A little over a year ago, it was late January, it was a Sunday morning. They were trying to fly from his and Gianna's home, and the other people also lived in Orange County. They were headed up to Calabasas. So you got to go across Los Angeles, over Malibu, right along the coast of California and the Pacific Ocean. And there it is, there's the route. The crash happened in Malibu. What did the NTSB say?
They said a lot. They met for quite a few hours yesterday. There were 2 big takeaways, though. The first is that the pilot was flying into clouds, and he was not allowed to under the rules for his license and for the charter operator's license. That's number 1. Number 2 is the helicopter did not have safety equipment that was available to it, but not required under the federal regulations.
What do you mean safety issues?
Well, not safety issues, safety equipment. So there's something called the Terrain Awareness Warning System, TAWS, that is required on some helicopters, but was not required on this one under the federal aviation regulations. Now, those regulations are a floor, a bare minimum of standards. So the operator, the charter operator, could have installed a TAWS onto this helicopter. And if they did that, it would have warned the pilot that he was about to crash into a hill.
But as far as the part about he wasn't qualified or it wasn't based on his license, he wasn't supposed to go up, are there no checks and balances for that? When you check in air traffic control, do they not know, or is it just up to the pilot to kind of police himself when it comes to those kind of things?
They don't know where the clouds are. Only the pilot knows where the clouds are, and the pilot's job is to avoid the clouds. And we know that the pilot went into the clouds and he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
We know that if he went into the clouds, he had training for that. And his training said, level the helicopter, climb, and declare an emergency. Because a pilot that's not trained to be in the clouds, is an emergency. And under any circumstances, and especially when you've got passengers in the back. So he didn't do those things. And
right.
What happened after that is he went into the clouds in a little bit of a left-hand turn. And when you go into the clouds in a turn and you can't see anything in front of you, you're prone to something called valines, and that's a spatial disorientation condition where you don't know at the end of the day which way is up, quite literally. So the turn continued. He didn't realize he was in a turn. He thought he knew he was supposed to climb, but he wasn't climbing, he was descending. And unfortunately, he got disoriented and wound up hitting the hill, which is where if he had the TAWS on board, he would have had a warning.
Obviously, he couldn't see a thing. He's in this thick marine layer and clouds, which Southern California has all the time.
Yes.
But you can tell he hesitated. Can you roll the animation again? Because they're going from Orange County up to Calabasas. But looks like they circled downtown Los Angeles, thinking it through, trying to wait out the marine layer, but it never happened, that he decided to go anyway?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So he thinks he's ascending once he gets into the clouds, obviously.
Yeah, he does add power, but he doesn't climb the way he's supposed to. So it seems like he thinks he's climbing, but he's turning and descending.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then there was the element, too. The NTSB said yesterday about the pressure the pilot put on himself. Let's listen.
Safety issues include continued VFR flight into instrument weather conditions due to self-induced pressure and planned continuation bias.
How do they possibly know that he had self-induced pressure? Yeah, he's got a high-profile client who wants to get to an event. How do we know what he's thinking?
Well, they don't. The NTSB assumes that that's what was going through his mind.
Yeah.
And their opinions on probable cause that they give out are just that, their opinions. They're actually not admissible in civil litigation, and we know there's a lot of litigation going on surrounding this crash. The NTSB's opinions and their probable cause determination just aren't admissible because Congress has said, hey, this is your best guess, and we'll let the lawyers
I
fight
get
it out.
Do you
Okay.
think after this, the FAA will require to have that warning system put on these helicopters?
Well, the FAA hasn't made any movement on that, but Congress shockingly has made some movement. There's been legislation introduced that there should be these TAWS safety measures put on helicopters just like this.
Yeah.
So Congress is trying to force the FAA to move that way.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
It's interesting that Congress has to force it, and
John, you're so good. You know all sides of this, and we appreciate it.
thank you.
Thanks.